Now let me go over to Blackboard and show you a little bit more than I did in the classroom. So you know where the announcements are in the announcement tab, and you know where the getting started items are. I'm slowly adding the 2 videos that I need to add for the introductory lecture, which is what I'm making right now. You have seen a little blurb on me. Please read the 10 things Dr. G loves so you know what I'm expecting from you during class interactions. And then I have showed you already where the course syllabus and schedule lives. This will always be the most current schedule. Once I print something and give it to you, it becomes obsolete if I change anything. If we have school closures or I get delayed by some other reason and I need to make changes, those changes will always show up here on Blackboard. And I will always mention those changes in class, and I will send an announcement about it through Blackboard as well. So this page is the most current and updated page. Next thing I've shown you already is the weekly tasks and info. This is where each week's tasks folders are, and there's a drop down handle on the right side. You can click and it's just image I have. But when you get into the folder, that's when you have the assignment due dates, the quiz date, the exam date, or anything else that's due. It also has a little bit of information about what we're doing that week, and then the chapter we are covering, and you can click on the chapter, get into it, and you have everything that we talked about in class on Thursday. The part that I want to show you today is how to study for this course tab. So I have calculated for you the time allocation, and this is the step-wise study that you should be doing for this course. So read the textbook chapter before the lecture day, and that's 1 hour's task. Spend 1 hour on it. Then a little bit under 30 minutes or quarter or 15 minutes or so, I'll mark the areas that are difficult in that chapter, and 30 minutes or so prepare questions if you have any for me so that we can discuss it in class when I start actually the lecture on that chapter. On the day of the class, these are regular things: attend the class, write good notes, and ask questions in class. I like my classes to be interactive, so the more questions you ask, it moves better and everybody understands things better. Before sleeping that day, when you go home, make sure you rewrite the notes. And while you rewrite the notes, you use the notes that you wrote in class, you use the PowerPoint slides, which are in Blackboard, and the textbook. And look at the glossary and write down the new words and their definition. And then you go to bed that night. So these you have to do before you sleep, because our memory works in a way where if you have only heard an information about a new word or a new concept in class that morning just once, when you sleep, your brain reorganizes all the information it received that entire day, which is which includes stuff you read, stuff you saw, stuff you heard, everything. And if you have heard something in lecture just once, it is going to throw that stuff out. It's not going to store it, not even in your short-term memory. So to make it enter your long-term memory, you have to go home and rewrite your notes. When you sleep that night, after rewriting your notes and listing the new words and their definition, you are not going to forget all about it when you wake up the next day. That's magic. That's how our brain works, which means you are 1/3 of your way towards preparing for your quiz and exam just by doing this simple little task the day of the lecture. By the end of that week or the next week, or in other words, before the quiz on that chapter, spend an hour and watch the videos assigned for the chapter. Spend about 15 minutes or so clearing any confusion. You can ask me questions, you can talk to your classmates, you can come to my office hours, whatever it is. Talking to other people will clear those cobwebs. It's very important. Spend another hour and go over the concepts you're finding difficult and learn those really deeply. In the way, when I say learn it deeply, it means that if you have an essay question in front of you about them, you can just smoothly and freely write about them. You have to be that confident, okay? So prepare yourself that way. Spend about 30 minutes learning the new words and their meaning, apply them in sentences. Another 30 minutes on figures and labeling and flowcharts if we have any. Another hour to practice all the questions that I've given you in the chapter folder. And right before a quiz or exam, spend another hour. Okay, so this last hour is done the day before, the night before the quiz or the exam. So that is a total of 9 hours that you will spend per week in on each chapter or each concept that we cover in class when you go home. 9 hours at home. Okay. And if you want to make a schedule, this is one example how your schedule could look like. So I have made a schedule for you. You can shift things around depending on how your other classes are set up. So I've set it up as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And these are 30 minutes a piece. So read the chapter for Tuesday's lecture on Monday, mark difficult areas, watch videos, study for exam. All those are in there. Rewrite the notes after the lecture, and then take a quiz on Sunday or whichever day your quiz is on, and complete questionnaires or assignments on certain days. So these are all color coded. There's a key down here that tells you stuff that are blue are before the class, yellow is on the day off, and so on and so forth. So you can take this and move things around and make it special for yourself. Then underneath this, I have some key concepts of how we study and what we remember. So go through these, and it might be new information for some of you. If you just hear something, you're going to only remember 10%. So if you just come to lecture, you're going to hear and remember only 10% of what I say. If you go home and read about them, you're going to remember 15% of what you read. And if you both see me teaching and hear me teaching, you will remember 20% of it. Okay, if we are doing discussions, you'll remember 40% of it. 80% of what we experience and practice. So this is where labs are very powerful. And if you now do team studying or group studying or have a study buddy, that is the most powerful thing. So if you can find somebody in the class to study with, you're now going to remember 90% of what you will be teaching each other. So that is amazing. Okay. So again, I have laid down some methods here. See if you can follow those. I've also made you some videos. So these are a series of 3 different videos that I made to help you study in the right way. So it has things like test anxieties, how to take a test, how to study, how to take notes, how to rewrite your notes. All kinds of things are in there. This is very powerful. Most students who watch this say that they benefit from this. So these are just YouTube videos that I made. You can study using those guidelines. Then I've given you a cone of learning. So again, that same 5 to 90% spread of how much we actually remember. So if you are used to just reading and listening to lecture and not doing anything else, remember that in a college level, 200 level course, you will only remember 10 or 15% of what you read or study. So you will have to add all these other activities to your study methods to gain deeper learning and deeper memory. Okay, this is called Edgar Dale's cone of experience. Again, similar concept. If you want to remember 90%, then these are the procedures you follow. You have to analyze, you have to define, you have to create, you have to evaluate. So work with the concepts really deeply to remember most of it. So these are some of the help that I have given you on Blackboard. And the last thing I will talk about is the term paper. There are topics, as I told you in class, that you will choose from whatever is most interesting or easy or easily accessible on database. But here is the guideline. So the guideline basically tells you that you need to write an introduction. You're going to introduce the topic to your reader, tell us what it is about, and then what are the objectives and goals of this paper, what are the highlights of this paper, all go into the introduction. So it's like a little summary. So your reader will know what is coming up in this article. Then in the material methods section, you will break the paper up into different segments by different topics, and you create one subheading per topic, and then you write under each subheading. Okay, so you're going to summarize what you found in the article. If the article has graphs, tables, and figures that are useful for your goal for your paper, then include them and explain the conclusion from each of the tables, figures, or graphs that you're including. Explain what they're showing. Do not have to go into great details because we just want to know the very simplest concept, simplest answer, and the highlight. Okay, so don't go and include every figure that you see. Okay, select wisely. Select the ones you're comfortable with, you're excited about, and you're interested in, and those that explain the concept in your paper. Then towards the end, you will write discussion and conclusion, what you have learned from reading these, what are the main highlights, what are people doing and saying, what are the current cutting edge science saying, discuss and explain all that. And then at the end, you again summarize how this article will affect our understanding of microbiology. Or in other words, what is the global impact of this research that you did and the article that you wrote? What are the new findings? How is it going to help the health and science or microbiology or anybody else out there? What did you learn from this project and this study? So those are the main sections. And again, material methods can be broken up into many different sections as you write it. I don't go by number of pages. That is irrelevant. My grading is based on content. So to check out how to write this paper, use this guideline, WikiHow, to write a term paper. And then this first rubric will help you write it. Okay. When you have written it, look at the grading rubric, and the grading rubric is going to tell you how I'm going to grade it. The grade points are on the right side. This is based on 100 points, of course, and then how I am going to grade it as a A or B or C or D or a F based on what you are writing in each section. So write it using this rubric, but after you've written it, check it against this rubric that it fits properly, because this is the one I will be using to grade it. And that's all there is to the term paper, and that's all I have for you guys. The rest of the stuff up here are simple, or I have already explained them in class. So see you in class next. Bye.